Done. Sit. All right. Sit. Good. Don't break my stuff. Don't break my setup over here. Okay. Jesus. All right. March 6th, Monday. Day 6 of our March Meditations Challenge. So take a moment. Find your shape. I am finding myself again on the kitchen floor. It seems to be a theme here at my house, for a variety of reasons, which I'm not really going to get into. All right, let me start the timer. 15 minutes. Starts now. So again, take a moment, find your shape, settle in into your body, kind of drop in. If you have a way, you go ahead and just kind of keep me in a background there as a little bit of a white noise, and just do what you need to do. If you are more inclined to be led or kind of come along with me, then come along with me. So rooting into the ground, whether you're sitting propped up on something, and I usually sit in propped up, but I am not, or have not been. But I like to lean. I definitely like to lean. It's my preferred way. I like to keep the head free for the most part. Scanning the body, softening the gaze, maybe even closing the eyes, and turning into the breath for a moment. Just taking an inhale, developing, or rather establishing, the witnessing capacity within you. And it really seems to, for me anyway, the body and the breath seems to be just a very solid way for me to drop into that mindset of a witness. So allowing the breath to settle in whatever rhythm and cadence that it finds, and then just being there, witnessing the sensations as it comes in and out, as the lungs lift wherever it travels in the body. So far we've been on a little bit of a journey. We have established a no expectation space for our meditation practice, for our meditation challenge as a whole, and for each individual session. We have identified whatever it is that we're looking at, whether that's the same thing or whether it shifts, but it seems, for me anyway, that the trend is that we're looking at this one thing that may shift. Maybe we get to resolve it, or maybe we don't. And whether that's a specific situation or a specific external situation that you're having, or a specific behavior or belief or a pattern that is within yourself that you want to tackle. And then we have also yesterday been working on how do we feel about that internally, and trying to sit in the space of whatever it is that we feel about whatever it is that we're looking at in any given moment, in the here and now, right? So specifically when we sit down and meditate, and you may return to that as you go throughout the day, and you may notice that your feelings about whatever your topic may change. And all that is okay. We are practicing radical acceptance of whatever arises within us in relation to whatever the situation is, as well as radical acceptance towards the situation that we are looking at. So both, right? Radical acceptance everywhere. And then today, I would like bring in the notion of forgiveness. You know, and that may be tricky, or that may be a little premature based on where we are in the process. But it came up for me, so I figured I would just throw it out there for you all as well. And when I say the notion of forgiveness, I don't necessarily mean an actual forgiveness, but more specifically, the willingness for forgiveness to occur at some point on the journey, right? It's more of a notion on inviting the possibility of forgiveness. Now, how does that apply to what we've been doing so far? So I see two primary folds as far as what we've been working on. And that would be forgiveness towards the external stuff, towards the thing that we're looking at, towards the situation or the other person or the behavior, right? And again, it's a notion to invite willingness to forgive, not necessarily an actual forgiveness, right? Because that's a process. But to have an intention that forgiveness is possible, I think changes the mindset or opens up a door for forgiveness to actually transpire at some point. So part one, forgiveness, willingness to forgive for whatever it is we're dealing with to exist in the first place, right? Forgiveness that it occurred, forgiveness that we have to deal with it, forgiveness that we don't like it, forgiveness that we did not want to experience it in the first place, you know, whatever it may be. So that would be part one. And then part two would be willingness to invite forgiveness towards how we feel about it. And more importantly, it's towards the dislike, you know, towards the negative feelings / negative energy that we occur and accumulate and create and project and exude based on whatever it is that we're dealing with. And from where I'm sitting with my own challenge, thinking about being willing to forgive, I'm not really sure which one comes first or second, and I'm not really sure if it matters. I personally find the openness to willingness to forgive fairly easy. Personally, I find it fairly easy. Naturally, I am of the mindset that I do not want to hold on to anything that is not serving me. And while I recognize that I have feelings and resentments and things that I need to go through and process and integrate and dissolve, ultimately my willingness to forgive exists in the beginning. But I think it's important to bring it up front and kind of state it to ourselves so we can be clear, so we can have clarity whether that is available to us or whether that's not available. And then if it's not available, then what does that mean? Does that create additional work for us? And I think it does, because if there is not a willingness to forgive yourself and or whatever it is that our situation is, our thing, I'm going to call it a thing, whatever our thing is, then I think that needs to occur first in order for us to go any further. Right? Because otherwise you just kind of, plopping around in shit, right? In yuck, in like sticky stuff. So I think establishing an intention of what you want the outcome of your processing of whatever it is, of the thing that you're processing to be, and using possibly forgiveness as the outcome is really productive and is a productive mindset. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we're meditating on today. Is there a willingness to come to a state of forgiveness? Are we willing and open to find forgiveness towards ourselves? And or first or second or first, I don't think it matters. And maybe it does matter. Maybe that's something that we could think about a little further. And as I said, towards the thing that we're looking at. So I would encourage you to have that conversation with yourself in your head, in your heart. In your head and in your heart. Now, those are two different conversations, right? The conversation in your head, generally speaking, would be the conversation with your ego, with the part of you that wants to defend yourself, justify, prove, feel just or unjust, right? And then the conversation with your heart is the conversation that's rooted in peace and love. Where the conversation with the ego, generally speaking in your head, is the conversation with the fear. And there may be two completely different conversations. Or maybe you are able to just bypass the mind conversation, the conversation that's based in fear, and then go straight, to the conversation with the heart, even though I think that the fear-based conversation almost automatically arises first. That's why we meditate in the first place. Because most of what meditation deals with is the stuff that's happening in our head, which more often than not is fear-based, patternistic, habitual, compulsive thinking and behaviors. And then however you're going to go about it, basically kind of noticing where you land. Where you land, where do you land? Is there a willingness to be open to forgiveness? And if that feels like it has friction wrapped around it, asking further, where is the blockage? Where is the obstacle? Where is the resistance? What is preventing you to even be open to the idea of forgiveness? Because we're not forgiving here. We're not, that's over there. That's like maybe August meditation challenge will be forgiving, right? We're just entertaining the openness to being willing to forgive. So that's 15 minutes. Wow, these 15 minutes are being really quick for me anyway. So far yesterday was extremely fast. So is today, but I really like the continuum, because it's like one leads to another, and another leads to another, and then we're just kind of going through some kind of a process, right? And then the process will not always be the same, but there may be some pattern that we can establish throughout what we're experiencing in this particular cycle of our meditation. So thank you so much for tuning in for day 6 of our March Impromptu Meditation Challenge. Thank you for some of your feedbacks. I am always looking for more. Share what you're experiencing, share how it lands. Any questions, let me know. Anything that you would like me to specifically touch upon, also, please let me know. Otherwise, keep up the good fight. It is a daily 24/7 hard work. Keep up the good fight. Stay ahead of the shadows, shining some bright spotlight, sunshine on them. And I will see you tomorrow. Mindfulness to the breath space, to the heart space, and the sacred that unites us all. From my heart to yours always. Namaste. Thank you, friends. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.